The history of the Right Till the End project is that I heard about the Age Cymru Bedeck grants, and I sent an email to every registered manager in Pembrokeshire saying that if anyone was interested in an end-of-life project, we'd be happy to work with them. Like many hospices, we have a lot of experience in applying for grants, and we thought that might be helpful, and we were keen to work with care homes. I got a response almost immediately from Sue Mason, the manager of Coed home in Saundersfoot, and she was obviously full of enthusiasm for the idea, and what she wanted to do was a training programme specifically about end of life and specifically for care assistants. So we start with a conversation game that's all about the people present identifying what would be important for them at the end of life, what makes good end of life care. Then having done that, we always conclude that people are different and want different things. So we move on to a session that's about how you find out what your residents want. And we try and make it clear to people that they're doing that all the time. They're sitting and talking to residents all the time. And the care assistants often have a particularly close relationship with the residents. The next session, having shown that what good end-of-life care is, we make a big point about how it's absolutely essential to recognise that someone is at the end of life. And that's very difficult. That's difficult even for qualified people working in palliative care. And I've been really impressed on that session by how much people already know. We put them into groups and get them to identify some of the things that might suggest that people are coming towards the end of their life. And we found that care home staff are really good at that. We then move on to how care home staff can help with symptom control with some very basic stuff. Very simple stuff, but stuff that's really important. And again, we draw on what people already know. So when we talk about pain, we ask them what they, as care assistants, can do about pain. Nothing to do with giving morphine or medicines. And they're very quick at coming back with things like company reassurance, calm, tranquil atmosphere, distraction, that kind of thing, comfort, general positioning, familiar things around them. I've been really impressed by how good care home staff are on that.
I think what's the important thing there is about what we were talking about yesterday, and is getting everybody's wishes written down. And there will be people that you'll come across in your care that won't want anybody with them at the end of their life. And I think equally it's as important that there is nobody there then, if that can happen. Because what you're doing is you're still treating that person as an individual, which you've done all the time they've been with you. That's what you pride yourself on, treating people as individuals.
Trying just to respect their wishes.
Well, we had a resident who, and instead of, couldn't always be there, but we had the radio on with the opera, and that's what she loved. So she may not have us there, but she has the opera with it.
So she wasn't afraid.
No,
she
wasn't alone. She had what she wanted.
That's lovely, isn't it? Yes.
And it's important for people to know these things, because if you don't, it can cause distress. To give an example, about 50% of people are referred to the coroner when they die. People often think that means a post-mortem. It doesn't. People sometimes think it means something untoward has happened. It doesn't. It's often completely routine. And by being able to explain those processes to the family, you can save a lot of potential distress.
Mum was not very well, and she passed away in the morning, which was very dramatic. We stayed till 11:30, and then we came back at about 7 o'clock, knowing the undertakers were coming, and we just assumed that Mum would be taken out in a black bag and put in a van, which wasn't what I really wanted. But when the funeral company came, they brought a coffin, and Mum was laid in the bed, all white, with beautiful flowers around her head, and said another goodbye. And then we went outside and left the funeral man to his work. And when I was outside, the staff were talking to me. And then when I turned around, Mum was there in the coffin. And we walked to the car that was waiting outside. And I walked by the side of the coffin, and all the staff were there, lined up to the road, as they put Mum in the car and drove her away. And the man who walked in front of the car across the road stopped all the traffic to say goodbye to Mum. It was absolutely touching, and I never expected any of it. It was, and it is something that I will always remember. And that was it. Coed have been so good to me over the last few years, and I can never thank them enough.
I was delighted to be working with Sophie Thomas from the Paul Sartori Foundation on this project, and feel very lucky and honoured that we had some money from the Burdett Trust for Nursing and Age Cymru to work towards this end-of-life training day for care staff. It's so important when somebody comes into us who's new, that we find out what their wishes are right from the beginning, because we don't know how long they're going to be with us. They can be very frail and elderly, and sometimes there's never a really good time to get this information, so you might as well get it at the beginning and get it out of the way so that they can carry on living their life, not worrying about what's going to happen to them after they've died or as they're running up to their death. It's very important to us at Coed that when somebody dies, that the same dignity is continued after their death as what we give them before they've died. And that to us means that when the undertaker comes to take away the body, that it's done very respectfully. They always bring a coffin. We don't let any of our residents leave Coed in a body bag or on a stretcher. It's always much nicer if they're in a coffin and the family come back in the evening to see the person go in to the undertakers, and we can have some sort of end where we're handing that person over to the care of the undertakers, and we know exactly where they are and they're having the same care and dignity that they had with us when they were alive.